Good morning. My name is Christina and I work for the Citizens Utility Board, or CUB. And thank you for joining our presentation on an exciting new topic of community solar and how you can sign up for it and take advantage of this great program in Illinois. So I'll start with just a little bit of information about CUB before we get started. CUB represents all Illinois utility ratepayers, and we advocate for cleaner and cheaper energy. So we were created in 1984 with the charge to advocate on behalf of all utility consumers across Illinois. And since then, we've saved consumers more than $20 billion by fighting proposed electricity, natural gas, and telephone rate hikes. We also fight for legislation that will save consumers money and also for clean energy legislation as well. We also provide a lot of direct consumer education. So right now we do that in the form of webinars. We have a lot of really good online resources. We have a great website that has about 60 fact sheets on it. So it has a lot of information, really anything utility related that you might have a question about. We probably have a fact sheet about it on our website. We also offer one-on-one utility consultations. This is where you can sit down with someone over Zoom or over the phone and go over all of your utility bills, and we can make tailored recommendations based off of your usage and what type of home you live in and what concerns you have and things like that. We used to offer this in person, but right now we've shifted to offering this virtually, and we're able to really schedule this anytime that works for you, including evenings if needed. So here's a roadmap for what we'll go through today. We'll start with talking about what is community solar. Then we'll talk about why this is happening now. Next, we'll talk about how to determine if a deal is a good deal. This is one of the main questions people have when they're considering signing up for community solar. Then we'll talk about Solar for All. This is another program that's new in Illinois that offers income qualified community solar subscriptions. And then we'll end with talking about the Clean Energy Jobs Act, or CEJA. This is a piece of proposed legislation that would expand all of these programs. So we'll dive right in with what is community solar? Community solar is a great program for people who can't put solar on their own homes for whatever reason. So it's good for renters, it's good for people who live in condos, people with shaded roofs, or people who don't have the right type of roof to install solar. Basically, anyone who can't install physical panels on their property for whatever reason, community solar is a great option. So you can subscribe to a community solar project that's built anywhere within your utility territory, and I'll show a map on the next slide of the electric utility territories in Illinois. So here we have a map of the electric utility territories. This green is Ameren, this red is ComEd, and this orange is Mid-American. So if you live in Chicago, you can sign up for a community solar project that's built anywhere within ComEd territory. So it could end up being pretty far away from you, but you're still able to subscribe to that project and see the benefits of it. Similarly, if you live in Springfield, you could subscribe to a community solar project built anywhere within Ameren territory. It could be even farther away from you, but you're still going to see the benefits of that project. If you live in a municipal utility where your city owns the electric infrastructure, something like Naperville or Geneva or Batavia, you probably won't be able to sign up for community solar just because there aren't projects being built in those specific areas. Most of them are being built in ComEd territory and Ameren territory. So unfortunately, this information is most relevant for ComEd and Ameren customers. So when you sign up for community solar, what the community solar company will do is they'll look at the last year of your electricity bill, and they'll look at how much energy you used over the last year. And they'll use that to size your subscription. What that means is they're looking at your usage and they're determining how many panels do we need to sign you up for to roughly match so that the output of the panels roughly matches the amount of energy that you use over the course of the year. And then if, say in the future, your energy usage goes up or goes down, they would be able to adjust the subscription size to match your usage going forward. So for a lot of people right now, if you're working from home, your electricity usage might be higher than it usually is. And so if you sign up right now, you might get a subscription that a year from now might be too big. They'd be able to adjust that then. Or say the other way, if you get a subscription now, but then a year from now you buy an electric car and your electricity usage goes up a lot, they would be able to adjust the subscription size that way as well. So each month, your subscription will produce electricity measured in kilowatt hours. And that will vary from month to month. You'll see the highest production in the summer months because that's when solar panels produce the most electricity. And then you'll see less production in the non-summer months, but still a lot of good production happens in the spring and fall and winter. So then the community solar company will report the number of kilowatt hours generated by your subscription to your utility company, and you will receive credits on your electricity bill that reflect the number of kilowatt hours generated by your subscription. The good news is that all community solar offers that are currently available in Illinois offer savings, but I'll show you more on the next slides how that will actually work. So here we have an example on the left of what your bill looks like before signing up for community solar. And then this example on the right in the yellow is what your bill would look like with community solar. So without community solar, there's no credits being applied to your bill. You just have the supply section, the delivery section, and taxes and fees. This is probably what your bill looks like right now. And in this example, based off this customer's usage, their bill is $109 before signing up for community solar. If they had signed up for community solar, their bill might look like this. Again, this is just an example. But here in this example, the homeowner used 800 kilowatt hours of electricity and their community solar subscription produced 714 kilowatt hours of electricity. So that results in a $50 credit being applied to the supply section of their electric bill. So their electricity bill has gone down from $109 to only $59 after this community solar credit. Then they receive a second bill from the community solar company for those credits that were applied, but they receive that with a discount applied. So in this example, it's a 20% discount. Most of the offers do offer 20% savings. And so in this example, the customer only owes $40 to the community solar company for a total of $99 and total savings of $10 compared to before they signed up. So you can see how these savings could add up over time. If you're saving $10 every month, that can add up over time, especially if you sign a long-term contract that locks in these savings. Again, this is just an example. This will vary based off of how much electricity you use and which offer you sign up for. So we'll go into a little bit more detail about how the savings actually work. So community solar credits are applied only to the supply section of your bill like we had in that last example. But, and this is important, if that credit is worth more than the supply section of your bill, it will offset other sections of the bill. So you don't lose that extra value. You're seeing all of that value. So this might happen, say this is a summer month where you have a lot of solar production, and say maybe you go on vacation for part of that month. So you're not really using the air conditioner. You're not using very much electricity in your house because you're on vacation for half of that month or a quarter of that month or something. There's a chance that you would get in a situation where the credit on the supply section of your bill would be greater than what you actually owe for the supply in a situation like that. And so the excess would offset the remaining parts of your bill, the remaining parts being delivery and taxes and fees. So there might be a mismatch between when you use the most energy and when your subscription produces the most energy. This is especially true if you're in a situation where you use a lot of electricity in the wintertime. Anyone who uses any sort of electric heat or space heaters and sees a really big peak in electricity usage in the wintertime might see a bit of a mismatch between when their community solar subscription is producing the most energy and when they are using the most energy. But because they're always being charged at a discount by the community solar company, it'll even out and you'll still be saving money overall. So here we just have an example of what your ComEd bill would look like with these credits applied. We're not so concerned with the numbers, just more with how it changes your bill in this example. So everyone on the back of their bill has this meter information section. This is where it has your meter number and it shows how much energy you used. Once you sign up for community solar, on the back of your bill, you'll have this new section added called Renewable Community Supply Details, and it will show you how much energy your subscription produced that month. So in this example, the subscription produced 252 kilowatt hours that month. then you see that that credit is being applied to the supply section. This is an example where the usage is pretty high. I would imagine this is like an industrial building or something, or commercial building. But the important thing that I'm just trying to highlight is that you would get this additional section added to your bill, and then the credit would show up under the supply section. So if you've heard of green plans, you might be thinking community solar sounds kind of similar to a green plan, but I wanted to point out some reasons that community solar is significantly better than a green plan. So a lot of alternate suppliers offer green plans, and they've offered them in Illinois for a long time. So you might, see them tabling at a farmer's market, or you might get letters in the mail saying, do you want to use renewable energy? Do you want to power your home with renewable energy? Sign up for our plan. And with green plans, what they're offering is they're offering to offset your electricity usage with renewable energy credits. Renewable energy credits, or RECs, are generated anytime renewable energy is produced. So, if you have a wind turbine, even if it was built 10 years ago, it's still producing electricity every day or almost every day. And when it produces electricity, it also generates a renewable energy credit. It's basically an accounting mechanism for how much renewable energy is being generated. But the key point is that they are not always from newly built renewable energy. So if you care about helping the environment and addressing climate change, what we want to do is we want to make sure that new renewable energy is getting added to the grid. We don't want to just support projects that were built a long time ago. So why is community solar better than these green plans? It's better for a bunch of reasons, including that all community solar projects are required to be new projects. So it achieves that goal of building new renewable energy in Illinois. They're also all required to be built in Illinois. So they're all helping build the local renewable energy economy. A lot of these projects are also built on farmland, and the developer of the project will sign a long-term lease with the owner of the farm. And per acre, farmers can make a lot more money leasing their land to a community solar project than they could if they kept that land in rotation for crops. And so it can be a way to help farmers diversify their income streams, but at the same time not taking very much of their land out of crop rotation. So it's a good situation for farmers as well. So it not only helps with the renewable energy jobs, but it just helps with the local economy in general in Illinois. Community solar saves you money. Green plans overcharge you. Usually they say, we know you want to protect the environment, so you can pay us extra and we'll help you do that. But in reality, these plans are not as impactful on the environment as community solar is, and they overcharge you. So there's really no reason to go with a green plan over community solar. If you care about the environment, go with community solar. And finally, community solar plans are more transparent than green plans. So when you sign up for community solar, they'll tell you which project in Illinois you're subscribed to. If you wanted, you could drive out to it and see it with your own eyes. And that that's a new project that's been built in Illinois. Most of these projects are being built right now in the end of 2020, and they'll continue to be built into 2021. With a green plan, you do not know where those renewable energy credits are coming from. Sometimes they'll say something vague like the Midwest, but you don't know where they're coming from. But you can be almost certain that they are not from new projects. They are probably from old projects. So it's much better to support a new project than to support an old project. Here we have a hierarchy of the different clean energy options ranked from most impactful on the environment to least impactful. So number 1 would be directly installing solar on your property. But a lot of people can't do that for a lot of different reasons. So the second option, which is also a great option, would be community solar. And these are all projects, like I said, that are being built in 2020 and 2021. And they help create jobs in Illinois and they save you money. So they're really a win-win-win. And then significantly less impactful on the environment, way down at the bottom, would be these green plans, as we talked about, because they almost always overcharge you and there's less transparency about where those credits are coming from. So we'll move on to the next section now of why now. Why is community solar popular now in Illinois? Community solar was passed as part of the Future Energy Jobs Act, or FEJA. This passed the Illinois legislature in 2016. And so FEJA did a lot of different things. It had a lot of energy efficiency requirements. It required ComEd to cut electricity usage by 21.5% and Ameren by 16%. This is a massive amount of energy savings that's happening from, making the grid more efficient, enabling more smart grid technology to better manage load and things like that. So these are massive savings. Then it also put in place a renewable energy goal to reach 25% renewable energy by 2025. And as part of that goal, it created these new programs, including community solar, solar for all, and residential solar incentives, and more. It also has incentives for job training, and it put $750 million towards renewable energy job training in Illinois. With community solar specifically, there was a lot of interest in building these projects. A lot of developers were interested in building them. And so there are actually about 8 times as many projects submitted as there was funding for, unfortunately. And so a lottery had to take place back in 2019 to select which projects would actually be able to go forward. So in ComEd territory, we had 433 projects submitted, and 78 of those were funded. And in Ameren territory, there were 486 projects submitted, and 34 were funded. The reason that there's less projects funded in Ameren territory than ComEd is because it's scaled to match the population. So the ComEd territory has the Chicago metro area and just has more people than Ameren territory, which is why there's more projects being built in ComEd. Each of these projects is about 2,000 kilowatt hours in size. That's enough to power an average of 285 homes, which is great. And for scale, this amount of solar usually takes up about 8 to 10 acres worth of space. Now we'll talk about how do you know if you found a good deal. So here's some things to consider when picking a community solar provider. And right now, CUB is aware of 6 offers available in Illinois. So you only have to look through 6 different offers to determine which one you want to sign up for. So the first thing you want to look at is what are the savings? All of the offers either offer 10% savings or 20% savings. What is the contract term? Some of them have no contract term, some of them have 15-year contract terms, some of them have 2-year contract terms. It varies. You might like the idea of signing a 15-year contract because then you know that you're going to be seeing these savings on your bills for 15 years. And so you might like the idea of locking that in. But some people might not know if they're going to live in the same state for a while, and maybe they don't want to sign a long-term contract. So you could pick one with a lower contract term. One important thing to note, though, is that by law, it's required that if you move outside of the utility territory, that the company cannot charge a cancellation fee. So don't let a long contract scare you off just because you're not sure if you're going to be in Illinois in 13 years or something like that. The next thing to consider is there an exit fee? The exit fee would only be charged if you just chose to cancel your subscription. If you move within your utility territory, you can take your subscription with you and it will be applied to your new utility account. And if you move outside of your utility territory, the exit fee is waived. So this would only be if you decided that you just wanted to cancel, that an exit fee would be applied. But some of them have no exit fees, so you might want to just prioritize that. Do they require a credit check? Some of them have soft credit checks required, others do not. And how will the company bill you? There's a fair amount of variety in how the companies will bill you. Most of them do the 2 bills where you still get your utility bill and then you'll also get a bill from the community solar company. Some of them require automatic payments. Some of them combine that bill into one statement that you'll receive each month. And so you won't actually still receive your regular utility bill. So there's a fair amount of variety in that and you can pick whichever one sounds the best to you. So currently, CUB is aware of 6 community solar offers that are available to Illinois consumers. So each of these companies is managing the subscriptions for multiple projects. They might be managing the subscriptions for 10 projects or 15 projects or something like that. You can visit solarinthecommunity.com to see reviews and a comparison of current offers. This is a CUB website where we really designed it to be a one-stop shop for community solar in Illinois. So we have some videos explaining how community solar works. We also have a blog post about each of these 6 offers with where it breaks down the main terms of the offer, and it also gives CUB's take on the offer. We did not see any red flags with any of these 6 offers, but we just recommend that you do your research to make sure that you're signing up for the one that's best for you. In order to sign up for a community solar project, you need to be a customer of the utility company where the project is located, and that's really the only requirement. There aren't any other qualifications required. Okay, we already went through this, but for most offers, you'll receive 2 bills, your existing utility bill and your community solar bill. Here, this is the chart that we put together comparing all 6 offers. So it goes the different companies down and the different terms across. So it compares the savings, the contract term, the exit fee, whether there's a credit check required, billing options, and any bonuses. Some of them have sign-up bonuses. So this chart, you can use it to help you pick an offer. And we have a little note down here, including when it was last updated. So this chart was last updated in November 2020. And again, you can find this and all of our other resources at solarinthecommunity.com. That'll be linked in the bio as well. So the next program I want to talk about is Solar for All. This is a program that offers community solar subscriptions for people who are income qualified. So Solar for All is a separate program that was also created by FEJA. That was that legislation in 2016. It has incentives for community solar subscriptions and also for residential solar. So if you qualify for Solar for All and you want to have the solar installed on your home instead, you can look into that as well. With Solar for All, it requires the companies to offer greater savings. So all of the companies offering Solar for All subscriptions need to offer at least 50% savings. This is significantly better than the 20% savings, which is the maximum that you would get through the general program. So if you qualify for Solar for All, we definitely recommend looking into that first because the savings are much greater. And again, this 50% savings is calculated in the same way. It's not 50% savings off of your entire electricity bill. It's 50% savings off of the energy that's produced by your subscription. So it's a little complicated, but the amount of money that you're saving, again, will vary from month to month as the amount of energy that you're using and the amount of energy that is being produced changes. But it is significantly more savings than general market community solar, so definitely look into this first. In order to qualify, you must be at or below 80% of area median income. This varies by household size and by region. So you can see if you qualify at illinoissfa.com/programs/for-renters. Or you can contact CUB and we can help you navigate to that part of the website and see if you qualify. You can learn more about Solar for All at illinoissfa.com. So really just want to highlight that now is the time. There is only a limited number of projects being built right now, and each project can maybe support about 200 subscriptions, so 200 people signing up for it. So there's a lot of subscriptions available right now, but we don't recommend waiting. If you know that you're interested in community solar and you know that you want to start saving money while also supporting renewable energy in Illinois, we recommend that you sign up within the next 6 months or so within the first half of 2021, or just as soon as possible. That's because there's only a limited number of projects being built, so we don't expect very many more companies to enter the market. And if they do, we don't expect that they would offer greater savings than that 10 or 20% that's already offered. So if you wait, there's not really that good of a chance that the savings will go up, and you might get into a situation where some offers will run out of spots. So now is the time if you want to sign up for community solar so that you can explore and have access to all of the options before any of them fill up. The next step, if you care about all of this, is to fight for CEJA. This is the Clean Energy Jobs Act. This is proposed clean energy legislation in Springfield. It already has a lot of support within both the House of Representatives and the Senate. It's also supported by over 200 environmental, faith, and clean energy industry groups across Illinois. In terms of the key components of this bill is it would get us to 100% decarbonized energy by 2030. This means that it would prioritize first phasing out coal and natural gas, and it would phase out all of that on the grid by 2030. It would then use the nuclear plants in Illinois as a stepping stone to get to 100% renewable energy by 2050. It also supports electric vehicles and electric transit, and it supports doing this in a way that is equitable. So it's not just rebates for people who can afford to buy a new car, but it's programs like electric vehicle car sharing pilots and incentives for municipalities to electrify their bus fleets and things like that. So it's looking at this in a very holistic way. It also would further support renewable energy job training. So FEJA put money towards that, but CEJA would put a lot more money towards that, and it would also create these clean energy workforce hubs across the state where people could get trained, and they would be physical locations where people could go to get renewable energy job training. It also supports a just transition for fossil fuel dependent communities. So there's a lot of communities where if there's a coal plant, that's one of the main providers of jobs in that community, and it's also one of the main sources of tax income, of property tax income for the community as well. And so right now, coal plants in Illinois are already set to close, and if we don't pass a law like CEJA, they will be allowed to just close and leave town the next day, leave those communities completely high and dry. And we know that that's not fair to the people who have been working in those plants. So we want to make sure there's a just transition for those communities that have been turning our lights on and things like that. So CEJA provides a transition for those communities. It also has a lot of utility accountability provisions as well. So it would do things like create an independent monitor to review the activities of utility companies, and it would also require them to meet reliability and affordability goals. You can visit illinoiscleanjobs.org, it's ilcleanjobs.org to learn more and to get involved. There's information on that website about how to contact your state representative or state senator to tell them that you support this legislation. There's also a lot more resources about how this legislation would work and everything else that's included. You can also contact CUB and we can plug you into our volunteer team, where my coworker Matt leads the volunteer team, and we do a lot of work around CEJA there as well. So as always, you can always contact CUB and we can point you in the right direction. CUB has a consumer hotline. The number is 800-669-5556, and you can call that with any utility related questions, and we can either point you in the right direction or answer that question for you. We also can handle complaints on this hotline. So if you call up ComEd or call up People's Gas and you're having an issue with them and you don't think that they're responding to your concerns adequately, you can call us and we can escalate that complaint within the utility department, and we can sometimes help you get that issue resolved more quickly or get a better outcome for you. So feel free to call us. It's completely free to call, and our counselors are highly trained and can help get you an answer and get you resolved more quickly. If you would like to ever set up an event or get in touch with anyone on the outreach team, please contact Joe Giambardino. He's the outreach coordinator and his information is listed here. And we also have a calendar of events available at citizensutilityboard.org/calendar. We do a lot of different webinars on things like how to save on your cable bill, how to save on your electricity bills, how to go solar, really anything utility related. We have events around it, so check out our calendar. And thank you so much for joining the webinar today.